So, hello, my name is Karina Akidal. I'm the managing editor of Canadian Auto Dealer magazine, and I'm here with Perry Itzcovitch, who owns a dealership, actually a series of dealerships in Alberta. So maybe you can speak to us a little bit about what the situation is there for you.
Well, it's described to me as crazy. Everyone here is basically adjusting to where the conditions are. Where you're used to working on a monthly or a quarterly or a annual target, you're now working day to day. Your targets are based week to week. No one's looking on the long term. There's too many unforeseen issues popping up that we're basically just more in reaction mode. We've downsized our staff. We've reduced our hours of operation. We're basically doing whatever we can to, in our service and parts departments, take care of whatever needs the customer has, but at a much reduced amount. Our factory, I'm at one of our stores in Mercedes-Benz downtown Calgary. So being that it's a downtown store, we have nobody really going downtown. So now if somebody does come in and they need a shuttle, it's usually back to their house, or we're limiting who comes into the dealership by volume, just by the sheer situation. People don't want to come in. You've got a third of the people that don't want to leave their house. You have a third of the people, let's say, that are okay going out but taking precautions. And then you've got really a lot of confusion for the people in between, because as it's such a fluid situation, changing daily and hourly and by the minute, we're all basically hypersensitive to the fact that the future, the timeline to get things back to normal is really unknown. So it's just a manage day by day, week by week, trying to keep, but whoever you have still on staff, calm and keep everybody, there's the physical health aspect, but there's also the mental health aspect and the stress this is going to bring to the people that we've laid off, even when they come back. The economic situation in Alberta was tough before. And the price of oil with the fight between Saudi Arabia and Russia has really crashed the price of oil on top of it. So where a lot of Canada was dealing with, the normal business, Alberta was already had a round one with the energy prices. Now we've got a round two punch of the COVID-19. And I think our government's doing a great job here in the province, and the federal government's doing what they can. I think there's a challenge there to be done. It's a big problem. It's unforeseen. But I think for most part, most businesses in Alberta, if they're not shut down already, have downsized to have the staff they need to maintain whatever business is left, to the point where following that, it'll be a matter of whether it's 4, 5, 6 weeks, as we see from Wuhan, China, Hong Kong, South Korea. At some point, it's going to be at the next level. We're going to hit that apex on the graph, and the number of cases will start dropping, in which case, now it's a matter of how do we get back to some level of normalcy? How do we get back the people that we've laid off? If we laid them off in 3 rounds, do we bring them back in 1, 2, or 3 rounds? Like, how are we going to manage that business? And it just comes down to having a cool, level head, realizing that there is going to be light at the end of the tunnel. We are going to get through this, just as we got through H1N1 and SARS and all the other situations in previous years. It's a tough situation. And I think it's as important to remember that there's the physical health aspect, but also the mental health aspect. I've got one manager whose wife just had a baby yesterday. So he's taking the time off, obviously, to be with the baby, but at least, he'll at least it's something to keep him occupied. My daughter had a baby 5 weeks ago. She's preoccupied. She's a CPA and she's at home, working at home. So there are a lot of people that are working at home. We've actually equipped some of our staff with laptops to be more portable, to have PCs if they didn't have them in their home. A lot of them already had PCs and laptops. So, some of the guys are able to work remotely in the sales department. We have 8 guys in sales, but they're remotely working. We're only operating our showroom by appointment. Anybody who comes in for service, obviously we want to help them if they have a flat tire or a check engine light, but it's all being done in a very controlled environment with a reduced staff, with a lot of precautions, distance. You've got chairs in a certain spot, there's tape, you can't come in. If a courier brings a package into the showroom, because there's still stuff being delivered, there's a table, you put it on a table, you can't hand it to the receptionist. Like, we've taken so many precautions, and a lot of the precautions I've seen from, whether it was banks or accountants, we've looked at every best practice, and we're basically applying every best practice we can in dealing with COVID-19.
And so there's some very good suggestions in there already. And I'm wondering, in that case, maybe what can you tell dealers across the country as they're dealing with this crisis, as they're implementing perhaps similar safety and health measures as you have, or are discussing or considering which measures to implement? But what advice would you offer to dealers across Canada as they're working to get through this crisis?
Well, I think the first thing is there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel. We saw in Wuhan, we saw in mainland China, we saw in Hong Kong, South Korea, there does come a time when things do get back to normal. The whole idea here is to understand that, while we're being hit hard in the second quarter, hopefully by the third quarter, things will start to get back to some. It's going to be a very tough financial burden on a lot of businesses, and it's going to take time and patience to get through this. And I think, if anything I can tell, what I've been telling a lot of my friend dealers or co-dealers across Canada is, keep your sense of humor about it. I know it's not easy. It's going to be difficult in a lot of ways. Financially, it's going to be a huge strain on a lot of families. And we know that with financial difficulty, that's the number one cause of family violence and stress. So we have to be really oversensitive or hypersensitive to the fact that the fallout from COVID-19 could be even greater than the actual virus. So mental health issues, people who just financially are behind and they need help to get back. And again, the financial institutions and financial arms have done what they could do. And I think the manufacturers that are proactive in trying to give the dealers a bit more of assistance, whether it's through deferring expenses to another quarter or manage their business. I think what you got to tell the dealers is, work with your factory, work with your customers, work with your staff, be patient, keep whatever humor you can, a little song here and there, a little joke here and there, put some levity into the situation, because there's nothing light about this virus and what it's doing to business, but it's how we react to it. We can't change what's going on around us. The whole world is affected by it, but we could change how we react to it and how we communicate with others. So that's all I would say, is hang in there. There's light at the end of the tunnel, and be as optimistic as you can. And if you can, leave some of the negativity at home.
Well, thanks very much for that, Perry. Great advice in that case. So we wish you the best of luck. Congratulations on being a grandparent. I know the timing is maybe not what you expected, but congratulations all the same, and wishing safe, good health and safety to you and your family.